If I see a black person walking around with Trump mugshot, I'm gonna punch him in the face.
Charles.
I don't, Gail.
Charles.
Gail.
You really can't say that because A, you don't mean that.
Oh, I mean that sincerely.
This is absolutely ridiculous, and I think he needs to retract this.
Obviously, I'm not gonna go around punching random strangers in the face.
So I guess his point was to increase black support for Donald Trump. That must have been what his goal was, because that's what happened. Okay, peace family. My name is Christina Victoria, and I am back with another one. And today I wanted to talk about Charles Barkley, and not only his statement about wanting to punch people in the face who were wearing a Trump mugshot, but his retraction afterward. So, as always, you know the deal. I want to wish you abundant life, love, joy, peace, and prosperity, but not only to you, to your loved ones, to your community, and even to your enemies. Some of y'all really hate that part, and I just think it's super funny, which is why I just keep doing it. So before we get into the video, I just was cracking up because I got a message from someone on Facebook, and I hadn't heard from this particular person since 2010. Okay, so the last message I'd received from this person was in 2010. So I just started this channel. I've been posting a lot, so they haven't said anything about the channel, but all of a sudden, out of the blue, they send me a message. And the message says, "I love your hair. What is her name?" And I was just cracking up because I'm sitting here like, her name? This is not a wig, family. This is my natural hair. And then she tried to play it off like that's not what she was talking about. But like, family, this is my hair. This is how it grows right up out of my head. 360-degree view. You can look at it from the top, from the side, from the back. This is mine, fam. Anyway, let me even it out. Hold on. When you really do the fro, I'm telling you, it takes a lot of effort to keep it this way, but we can talk about all that later. If you want to see my hair, go to my Afro oil video and you'll see me with my hair wet and you'll see it's really my hair. So anyway, I just had to clarify that because some of y'all seem suspicious, but no, this is not a wig. This is my real, natural, God-given hair. So I wanted to talk about Charles Barkley, and I had actually recorded this already yesterday, and then I saw the retraction and I was like, oh, let me re-record this instead of having two different outfits on. So
Yeah. Number one, obviously I'm not gonna go around punching random strangers in the face.
But he will throw you out of a glass window.
And don't y'all forget that Charles Barkley, he threw a whole damn ass human being through a glass window for little or less. So I'm more inclined to take Charles Barkley, Sir Charles, at his word.
Secondly, people can vote for who they want to.
You see how she just like doubles what he said? He's like, want to, and she says it at the same time. They rehearsed this, okay? This isn't like his organic feelings. They were like, okay, this is what we need to say. What you need to say is that you won't actually punch anybody, and you need to tell them that they can vote for who they want to. Now, Mr. Charles Barkley, Sir Charles, we know this. We know that we can vote for whoever we want to. And I think that's the problem. I think that's actually the problem. We already know that we can vote for whoever we want to. And black people, I think the wool that was pulled over our eyes for a long time is like slowly being snatched away. And we're like, oh, I don't have to vote Democrat forever. I can do what I want. I don't have to vote Democrat forever. I can do what I want, right? And it's not about Trump. It's not about like even being Republican. And interestingly, Charles Barkley said something to this effect. But like, we already know that, fam. And I think that's exactly the problem, and that's exactly why people like Charles Barkley are being sent out onto the news media to say things to like I think it's like intimidation. It feels like intimidation tactics. Like, let's make sure to whip the black people into shape. They look like they're about to vote for Trump. Let's bring out a black and make sure that they know that they're supposed to be Democrats, you know? And it's like, it's just funny because I can't tell if he's being authentic, like, you know, if he really feels these feelings or if he's being coached into saying certain things. But it feels like as I said, that he is being brought out to whip us all into being Democrats and to whip us all into feeling bad about it for those people who may want to vote Republican or may want to vote for Trump or whatever. To it's like a form of intimidation, using someone who's been people's hero for a really long time. Not maybe not a hero, but like who we've looked up to for a long time. A lot of us watched him when we were kids, you know.
Now I do want to say this. I want to make it perfectly clear. If you're a black person and you're wearing a Donald Trump mugshot, you are a freaking idiot.
He's not going to punch you, but he wants to make sure it's abundantly clear. He thinks you're an idiot. So he's like, I'm not going to punch you, but I'm going to insult you. And I think this is super cute, right? It's cute, right? He's like, I'm not going to punch you, but I just want you to know that I still think you're a POS. And I can't say what I really want to say.
And I'm only saying freaking idiot because they won't let me say what I really want to say. I'll stick by what I said. If you're wearing a Trump mugshot around, you are a freaking idiot.
But you aren't going to go just randomly attack people on the street. That's the only point I want
unless
to make.
She has to make sure to keep coaching him into this, right? Make sure to keep coaching him.
They have the Trump sneakers on too. Unless they have the Trump sneakers on too. Now, if you got the mugshot,
Okay,
you got the mugshot and the Trump sneakers on, you uncross over a line that you cannot get back.
Unless, so he's not going to punch you unless you have the mugshot and the sneakers, see? You have to make sure that you throw in the sneakers because the sneakers are cool. The sneakers are cool, man. I like the sneakers personally. I like gold. I like shiny things. So, I mean, like, I'm not personally, they don't even have any more of those gold sneakers. I guess, like, you can go to eBay and still get some, but that's just to say that it's not like I'm really going to get any gold sneakers, but I mean, they looked cool, you know, and it's like, y'all just want to throw shade just because, like, Trump is kind of cool, man. Like, you know, that's literally it. He's a little bit cool, so you have to throw in that little dig about the sneakers. So if y'all try to like the sneakers, they're stupid. They're stupid. You're supposed to think they're stupid. Just, you know, you're supposed to think that they're dumb. You know, like, never mind the fact that they're really cool looking. No, just ignore that. Ignore that.
Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain.
Oh, and he pulls the curtain back. He's like, no, don't pay any attention to that man. And it's like the big booming voice trying to play like he's this like ethereal like Oz, but it's really just this man behind the curtain like with a little microphone. You know? Like it feels like that where they're like, pay no attention to all the things that you see, believe what we're telling you. And it's like, yeah, but we're not stupid. And it almost, some of the things they say, it feels like they think we're stupid enough to like believe their words over what we see with our own eyes. Like, no. I was really cracking up because I had just made a video about blackness. I invite you to go watch that. I'll link it up in here. And what it really means to be black. I had pulled the clip from Joe Biden where he's like, you ain't black. And was just kind of laughing about the fact that, you know, for whatever reason, there's this expectation that started, you know, I guess, I don't know, maybe around the civil rights era. Charles Barkley talks about it, how before, you know, a lot of the civil rights, before the civil rights era, black people were Republicans.
Yeah.
But we both pretty much been Democratic for the last X amount of years. But we never hold them accountable. Mm-hmm. And they only come around every 4 years and say, vote for us. Yeah. They take all our votes for granted. That's why black people are leaving the Democratic Party. That's not meaning they're going to the Republican Party. They're becoming disinterested. They're like, I'm not going to vote.
I'm one of those people, right, who was like, I think I need to be an independent. And I honestly agree. Everyone needs to vote how they want to vote. But I really do agree with this, that I think black people need to, like, if you've been in the Democratic bus for a long time, I think it's time for a lot of us to get off the bus and just drive your own car. That's the best way I can say it. Like, get off the bus and just drive your own car. And you know, I'm not saying to stop voting for Democrats, and I'm not saying you should vote for Republicans. I think it's just that we need to stop voting as a bloc and make both sides court our vote. Because what happens is when the Democrats feel that our vote is a shoo-in, right? They don't even have to work for it. We know that we have 90% of the black vote. They don't have to work for it anymore. And you can see, I feel, in their policies that they stop giving a F completely, right? They're like, we're going to try to court every other group, all these different special interest groups. We're going to do everything for y'all. And then black people, y'all going to vote for us no matter what we do. So we're just going to, you know what I mean? And then I feel like on the Republican side, I think sometimes there can also be that sense of like, well, we're not going to get their vote anyway. So like, who cares, you know? And I'm not saying that the Republicans are bad. I'm just saying that it feels like if you don't have to, if you know that 90% of Black people are not going to vote for you, then why even invest a lot of your energy there? And I think that's fair, you know? I think if Black people totally get off the bus, really get off the Democratic bus and drive our own cars, and I mean be totally independent, where it's like, I am a free agent, court me, make me vote for you, give me a reason to vote for the Democratic Party again. And I think we need a large number of people to feel that way, to push the hand of the Democratic Party and the hand of the Republican Party to pay attention to the needs of the Black community again. And so I do agree with him on this. You know, I think that this is true. A lot of people, Democrats especially, have become real comfortable with like this corralling of the Blacks, right? Corralling of the Blacks. Okay, Black people, it's time for y'all to go vote for us, you know? And then anyone who doesn't want to get in line, it's like this like whipping, like, guys, whip, you a Democrat. I'm like, no, I want to be an independent.
Your name is Toby.
No, you a Democrat. And you're like, no, I want to be a libertarian. No, Democrat. And you're like, oh no, but I want to be Green Party. You're a Democrat.
What's your name? Toby.
Oh, I guess we're supposed to be Democrat. You ain't Black if you're not a Democrat. Like, I'm gonna take your Black card, like snatch it away from you. Like Joe Biden go snatch my Black card or whatever, because I'm an independent, you know? So what did Trump actually say? Let's take it back. What did Trump actually say? That just made everyone so upset.
I got indicted a second time, and a third time, and a fourth time. And a lot of people said that that's why the Black people like me, because they have been hurt so badly and discriminated against. And they actually viewed me as I'm being discriminated against. The mugshot, we've all seen the mugshot. And you know who embraced it more than anybody else? The Black population. It's incredible. You see Black people walking around with my mugshot. You know, they do shirts.
Now, okay, I have not historically been a Trump supporter, but so I'm not one of those people who's been like on that train. Okay, I'm really like an independent who's like just kind of starting to look at both sides. I'm like, maybe I should just open myself up to both sides, right? So I remember watching people have that energy. I remember when he came to Atlanta and had the mugshot and was indicted. And I wasn't a part of it, but I remember hearing about a lot of Black people came out. I think Candace Owens covered this. A lot of Black people came out and were like cheering him on in the streets. They're like, yeah, Trump, you know? So it's like, I don't personally take offense to this. Like, a lot of Black people really have been unfairly persecuted for things, right? And so I don't think that Trump is saying that all Black people are criminals. It's interesting seeing how people have different takes on the same thing. I don't think that's what he was saying. I think he was saying that a lot of Black people know what it's like to be unfairly indicted, and he feels that he's been unfair. A lot of Black people feel that Trump is being unfairly indicted, and so he's like, they resonate with me because I'm having the same situation a lot of people have, you know?
So what you don't know is sitting over President Trump's left shoulder during that moment was me.
Obviously the Blacks must have just been so offended by this, right? And so Gail and Charles are like, oh, I would have just been so offended. And Charles is like, I would have just left. I would have just walked out, you know. I would have just been, oh, I can't believe he said that to us. And then this guy is like,
I was sitting right behind him during a 2-hour speech that was given in front of over 300 Black conservatives. And if you put that in the context in which you said that, it was absolutely hilarious. No one would have walked out.
okay, so this is the best part. He's like, y'all are really tripping about this. He's like, we thought it was funny. And that's like, that's my perspective on Trump, to be honest, right now. Is like, I can't tell if the liberals are like really offended by everything, or if they're just playing offended to try to sway the narrative. Like, I really can't tell, because I see people, they're like, oh my God, I can't believe he said that. That was just so racist. And I'm like, y'all just don't have any sense of humor. Like, because like Trump to me is like hilarious. Like, he's super funny. And like, that's part of, I think, the appeal, is that sometimes people take themselves too seriously. Like, he's not a politician, y'all. Like, he's not a lifelong politician. So like, these politicians, like, they have a stick up their butt, right? And they're like, oh, we can't, you know, they look at a poll and they're like, oh, we can't say anything outside of what the poll told us to do, you know? So like, oh, we have to make sure that everything we say, they get their script, you know, and they make sure to read off the script, only the things, you know, oh, what are my talking points? Okay, let me only make sure to say these things so I don't offend anyone, you know? And like, Trump is like just a regular guy. He's like a businessman. He's like, you know, like talks off the top of his head as I do, right? Like, it is what it is, fam. You know, sometimes I might make a mistake, apologies, but like, I'm not reading from a script, right? If you write a script, then obviously you can control what you're saying by just reading it. And so, yeah, I think Trump is hilarious, actually. Like when I saw the State of the Union, right, address, and like, granted, when Trump was president the first time, I really thought that I thought he was childish, right? I was like, how is this guy the president? And he's like being so childish. So I remember thinking that, but when I saw the State of the Union and he's doing like the little faces on Biden, on Kamala Harris, like I was cracking up. Like I thought it was literally the most hilarious thing I've seen in a long time. I showed it to my mom and she thought it was hilarious, you know. And so I go on his Instagram and I like look at the comments, and it's like half the people are cracking up and then half the people are like, oh, what type of a president would say things like this? Y'all are just so immature. And I'm like, y'all are so, like, I was like, are y'all really that offended? Or are you playing that way? Because if you really are that offended, then you have no sense of humor. Like, you just, it's like, can y'all relax? Like, can you just take the stick out of your butt and just kind of chill? Pull your panties out of it. You must have like a bad wedgie or something. Like, is that what it is? Like, y'all need to chill, man. Like, it's okay for someone to be funny and to crack an off-color joke. And I think that guy is just kind of, he's uncouth, right? Like, he's not polished. And I think that's kind of what people like about him, right? He's not overly polished. And a lot of these politicians are overly, like, we shine it, shine it, shine it. But sometimes we want to see that rawness, those imperfections, that humor, right? That natural light, that joy. Like, you know, like.
We are proud Black people that were standing there vibing with President Trump.
Yeah, he said they were vibing with him. Like, they were like, no, it was a vibe. Like, it was actually really cool, you know? Like, if y'all would just relax a little bit. He's like, we actually had fun. It was a connection. And that's what I think is, like, it's like, I'm really trying to come from a centrist perspective. And it's interesting because I never really gave Trump a chance, right? And so it's funny because just even considering him, a lot of Democrats are like, no, you're not even supposed to think about him, no. But it's like, you know, he seems to be someone who has an interesting sense of humor. People seem to not really understand him. And it's like, yeah, like, he's not polished. He is going to say things that are a little bit like, what? A politician would say that? But he's not a politician, right? And, you know, for a Black man to say, like, no, y'all are telling me how I should have felt, but I was there and I felt it and I was on stage and I liked it. And we were laughing. And if you were in the room and if you had listened to the context, then you would have gotten the joke, right? And it's like, it almost feels like y'all are just not getting the joke. Y'all are not getting the joke. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the punchline just like hit and y'all are just kind of like, and everyone else is laughing, but y'all.
It's sad and it's pathetic. And by the way, Charles Barkley, who I'm growing up a big fan of, and I don't think he's going to punch this combat veteran in the face. Now, I know he's 6'4", 350, and I got it. But I guarantee you, if I wear that shirt, or when I wear that shirt, he's not going to punch me.
If I see a Black person walking around with Trump mugshot, I'm gonna punch him in the face.
Charles.
Joe Biden on TV that said, if you ain't vote for me, you ain't Black. He said, if you didn't vote for him, ain't Black, you ain't nothing but a puppet, Charles Barkley. You had to hit me in the face because I would wear a Trump mugshot. I have one of his shirts. I just put his mugshot on the front of my jail Trump book. Go get it now on Amazon for $1.
Trump, how you get indicted before anybody on Epstein's list? Epstein's list. Jesus is my savior. Trump is my president. Saying that you racist, but I don't see no evidence.
And so it's not like you just willy-nilly say stuff for clickbait, right?
I always know the response, and I always know how much gasoline I'm putting on the fire.
Okay.
So Charles Barkley wants to say, oh, I knew exactly what I was doing. I know exactly how much gas to throw on the fire, right? But like, so I guess his point was to increase Black support for Donald Trump. That must have been what his goal was, because that's what happened. Like, now you have Black people even more defiantly supporting Trump. You have Black people who weren't wearing the Trump mugshot shirt, buying mugshot shirts and wearing it just to prove a point. So it's like, are you secretly MAGA? Because either either there was an unintended consequence here, or you're secretly a Trump supporter and you said that just to piss off everyone so that they would support Trump even more than they already did. So let me know what you think about this. I thought Trump was funny at that event, but were you offended? Are you offended by black conservatives? Are you offended by the mugshot? Are you offended by the idea of a president making jokes and being a little bit off color in the way that he presents himself and not being like that smooth, small, polished politician? Let me know in the comments. I know you will. Please make sure to like, subscribe for more, share it with a friend. As always, I love you guys. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace. I hope you get a bottle of Afro oil today.
Fake entertainment.